Hi guys, so today we are carrying out a full renovation on this customer's lawn. We're going to be scarifying, aerating, overseeding, top dressing, and we're also bringing in 3.5 ton of topsoil to do some levelling out of the lawn. There's a couple of dips which we're going to fill in and just general humps and bumps. So watch the video and you can see how we do it. Right, so at this point, what we're doing here, we are starting off with the scarifier, going up and down the lawn to begin removing the thatch. And we tend to scarify a couple of times if the lawn needs it, but this is just literally the first pass. There you can see Chris going around the edges so that we can leave a nice neat edge on the lawn once it's all finished, and the customer will not even have to think about mowing for at least 4 weeks. So what you can see now, Chris is starting to clear up the thatch, and it's just literally going around with the rake. It's a plastic rake made by a bulldog, which is useful, and just basically raking everything into piles just to make it easier for picking up. If it's not too windy, then you can blow everything into a nice line, and that will save you a bit of time. Topsoil's arrived. So this is Shell from Doncaster Aggregates. If you're in the area, what areas do you cover?
Most of Doncaster.
Most of Doncaster. Cool. So that's the first pass with the scarifier. We just thinned it out nicely. But the approach on this lawn is different because of all the humps and bumps. We're going to be bringing in all that topsoil and getting things levelled out as much as we can. Customers paid for 3.5 ton, which is what we're going to be using to maximise the benefits. There's just various humps and bumps across the lawn, and then we've got a little dip there. So we're going to go over with the scarifier again, and then we'll start with the rest. Well, this is obviously now the second pass with the scarifier. As you can see, first of all, going around the edges there with the scarifier, and that just makes life easier when you need to turn around once you get to either edge. Now, just going over the far end there, just because it's pretty separate. There we go. So we're now on a 45-degree angle, coming up and down the lawn. And it's just amazing how much thatch actually comes out the lawn a second time. And you can go over it multiple times, and each time you'll take a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. But the more you go, the thinner your lawn becomes and the more seed you've got to put down. So we're just going over for the second time, and it's still pulling it absolutely loads. What I'm going to do after this, I'm going to find the biggest humps. I'm going to go over with the scarifier just to try and even those out a little bit before we do all the top dressing, topsoil. You see how much comes out? I'm just going nice and steady. There you see, second pass again, we're just going over the lawn, taking out as much as we can, and Chris is there following me up, and he's just obviously clearing up for the second time, and that is one of the hardest parts of the job, is the clearing up and the tidying up. It's the most physical part of the job. I just wanted to record this because that view is amazing, and over there there's a couple of horses in that field there with the white fence around. It's a really nice location and it makes the job all worthwhile. So that's had 2 really good scarifies, which is enough. Now it's enough thatch taken out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use the scarifier on the pumps. If I can find the end of this. There we go. So we're going to go over the humps. What I'm trying to do is level those humps out a little bit with the scarifier, just to break down the humps, and then we'll carry on with the rest. Alright, so here now we've just got a little bit more of the clearing up and the tidying up, and then we can get on to the next sort of stage. So Chris is just doing a mow now, just to pick up all the debris off the lawn. I mean, you can see, as you see in a lot of our videos, what it looks like. We've gone heavy, and we've gone heavy because we know we are bringing in a fair bit of topsoil and seeding and top dressing, so it's essentially a brand new lawn. So I like to clean up as I go, keep everything neat and tidy. There's nothing worse than getting mud trampling down pathways and on surfaces which you've got to try and clean up at the end. So clean up as you go, and it makes your life a lot easier. So, like I say, we're at the point now where you can see the soil nice and easily. That's going to be great for overseeding. So I'm just going to get the topsoil in, iron out any bumps, and then get some seed on, get it top dressed. We're going to aerate as well. What I'm doing, I'm walking over the ground, and when I can feel a bump, I'm dropping the scarifying blades really low and then going backwards and forwards, and that'll just smooth out the top of that bump, just make it a bit less noticeable. So yeah, I'm just working my way up the garden there while Chris is tidying up ahead of me, and wherever I find a bump I'm just going backwards and forwards. Well, as you can see, it's looking a lot cleaner, a lot tidier, a lot neater, and it looks considerably flatter as well. So now it's hollow tine aeration time. This is the Klassen hollow tine aerator, and as I begin, I went round the edges first and then I'm starting to go over the rest of the lawn. Now at this point Chris is starting to wheelbarrow around some of that 3.5 tonne of topsoil, because there is a really long ditch going all the way from the left to the right hand side of the picture, and it is considerably going to eat a lot of soil, which you will see very shortly. So as I go over it, I'm using the roller to add a bit of weight just to try and squash it down there. Now what I requested Chris to do was to blow the hollow tine cores into the hole, because some of this soil is just mainly soil, 90% soil, little bit of thatch in with the soil, but it's going to go into the ground and we're going to be mixing it in and putting a load more topsoil on top. So it's pretty fine, it's absolutely okay to do. Unless it was a really bad heavy clay soil lawn, then I probably wouldn't do it. As we've blown it, you can see there's a bit of thatch there in with it as well, so I'm just raking this up first. Now at this point Chris has just gone off for a lunch break, so I'm doing a bit more talking. Days like this just makes it all worthwhile. If I lived here, I'd have a patio down here and I'd be sat down here all the time, a little hammock. Anyway, so what we're doing, we're starting to bring in the topsoil and we're starting to fill in that little dip there. But what we're doing, we put a little bit in, rake it about, and then we're going to use the roller and firm it down. You need to firm it down in layers so you don't get any sort of sinkages down the line or in a couple of years time. So you put a little bit in and then get the roller on. Guess who forgot the landscaping rake? So I've got to use my normal garden rake for this. Never mind. So we'll just loosely iron down all the bumps. Just loosely do that. Move it around. We can use the lute just to adjust the levels a little bit more, moving it around where the dips are. Get it as flat as you can before you put the roller on. So that's pretty flat, it's pretty good. We'll just run the roller over. And we will keep repeating this action. Now what you can't see here is that even though it looks pretty good and pretty flat, that the rollered surface is still quite bumpy because the soil isn't really that compacted yet. It may look flat, but it's still quite soft and fluffy and aerated. It's still pretty soft at this point.
What we don't want is a big mound that looks like it's filled in, only to find that it's really soft and spongy. So you've got to firm down in layers. Keep going over with the roller, keep firming. Now you might think that's absolutely fine, but then when you heel it, just watch how it all changes. So that's firming it in a lot more than just what a roller can do. This is where you do your little duck impression.
So from this point on, it's just a case of repeat, repeat, repeat. Keep repeating. Thin layers of soil, raked about, squished down, luted, rolled, healed. Keep repeating, and that level will gradually build up. At some point, it'll look level and you think you've done. Stick some more in and keep trying and keep trying. It will feel really firm after a period of time. Just keep going and end up with it just being ever so slightly proud of the rest of the ground that's around it. As you can see, this is going on and on and on, and in practice there was probably 45 minutes, an hour's worth of work, just getting this bit to look absolutely perfect. So we want this to be a long-term thing. If you don't compact it down properly in the right amount, you will end up with it sinking over time. It might take a couple of years, but it will sink. So that is the name of the game. So now, as you can see, we've done the main, the worst dip, and along that right hand side you can see there was a dip basically where you can see the soil from the patio and then working down the garden. I think it's probably an area where the customers walked many times, although he did have a problem with moles, and I think that's caused a lot of tunnels under the ground, which has caused the ground to sink over time.
Right, so we have put copious amounts of soil in there and we've got that pretty flat. Come and have a look at this. How's that look? That look pretty good? Anyway, so the worst dips are now filled in. What we're doing now, we're just putting little lumps of soil all over the lawn and just using the levelling lute to move it around, and wherever there is a dip the soil will fill in and fall down into the holes. So we're just raking it backward and forward until we get something that's more smoother, more flatter. So we'll crack on with this, and I don't know if you noticed, we had a bit of sleet, hail, and look at them clouds over there. It's not looking very good. Anyway, that side's looking good and it's coming that way, so positive mental attitude.
So here you can see it's just pretty much more of the same, continuing to bring in the topsoil, and matter of fact, 3.5 ton was absolutely bang on. It was the right amount of soil for the lawn. So yeah, we're just carrying on, levelling out, levelling out, levelling out, and Chris is bringing in the topsoil and popping it all over the lawn, and then I'm just going about raking it before he gets back. And then when I get a chance, I go over with the lawn levelling lute just to rake it backwards and forwards. Like I say, when it finds a hole, the soil will fall into the hole.
Ah, what great weather! It's not snowing, it's hail, and there's quite a bit now in the sky. We've nearly done. We've nearly got all the soil in and all the levels sorted out. So what we're going to do, we're just going to crack on and hope for the best, really.
Typical April British weather. You just can't write it in a book, can you? So anyway, it came and it went.
Right, been a busy day. So you can just see what we've done. There's been about 2.5 ton going to that bit there, maybe 2 ton, another ton down this side, and then probably 1/2 ton spread across little bits. And the aim of the game was the customer had got lots of divots and humps and bumps which were bugging him when he was mowing, and there was a great big dip here. So the dip has been filled in. The humps and bumps, we've spread soil across most of the lawn, which will just fall into the little dips as we're dragging it across with the lute. So now we've done that, we've used the lute many times, we've firmed it down with the roller. We're at the stage now where we're going to put some fertilizer on, then we're going to overseed it, and then we're going to top dress it, and then we're going to fall into bed and have a really good sleep tonight. Okay, let's crack on.
Right, so that's the fertiliser going on. It happens really quick. It's just walking up and down, a nice light dusting. There we've got our seed spreader. It's just a standard drop spreader, as is that for a compost dressing. But that is me putting the seed on. Now I actually go over twice to get a heavier concentration of seeds down, and I've got that on the highest setting on that seed spreader, and it's just to let more out. Now I could go and buy a rotary spreader, which would probably do it a lot easier, but do you know what, I used to seed by hand for many years, and it's only last year I bought this, and I thought, wow, why haven't I done this before? So you live and learn. Now that Bannerman mini topper there, what you can see, that has been a godsend. They're not cheap. We're looking at 900, £1,000, but it's worth its weight in gold for what it does. The only trouble is if you get some wet top dressing, it clumps and it sticks, and that's the same with any top dressing, and it won't go through very easily. And what you find is when it's wet, the wheels will actually pick up some of the top dressing.
So we are done and dusted. We've just got to do some watering in. As you can see now, we're just applying some top dressing. We've done the seeding, and that is the Bannerman mini topper, which has 3 little nuts on the front, and you can adjust the height of that green bar at the bottom to allow more or less of whatever it is you're putting down. So once that's down, we'll just run the roller over just to press it all in, and we'll get it watered in. So thanks for watching, we'll see you on the next one.